After we left Lunenburg, we went to Arm of Gold RV Park in North Sydney, and the next morning we boarded the ferry to Newfoundland. After arriving at the ferry terminal about 2 hours before boarding time, we were brought on the ferry one row at a time. The RVs were the most interesting to me because we had a tight entryway into the ferry, and then they had to choose what rows and aisles they wanted trucks, cars, and the RVs to be positioned. And of course we were very tight to one another, and it was quite a challenge for them to position us correctly and not take up a lot of space on the ferry. The crossing to Newfoundland took about 8 hours. The sea state was relatively calm, so it was a pleasant crossing, and we got to know people on the ferry boat and played games and read. It was a good crossing, and then of course we went to Grand Codroy RV Park once we were on Newfoundland for our first night's stay on the island.
Our favorite thing was when we were in Twillingate, Newfoundland. We took an optional trip out for icebergs, and we saw 2 icebergs. It was probably the coolest thing that we've ever seen on the entire trip. It made the whole thing worthwhile.
Okay, so where was your favorite place we went, do you know?
It would have been PEI. Yeah.
What about PEI?
Weather, golf courses, weather.
My favourite part of the trip has been meeting the people. The Canadians have been warm and very friendly. The Newfoundlanders are hysterical. You can't understand a word they're saying when they don't want you to. They're really fun-loving people. It's been really great meeting all the different folks throughout the trip.
I've enjoyed riding my bike to a knitting shop while geocaching on the way. It's been very fun.
I liked it all. Saw all sorts of animals and whales and fish and birds that you don't see most other places.
Yeah.
One night we went on a
Moose hunt.
And I spotted several moose that nobody else even saw. So
Yeah.
I was lucky.
Yeah.
A favorite place was the picnic. And that was, we were in St. John's and drove out from St. John's to the picnic area, and it was delightful. The weather in the afternoon was beautiful. The food was delicious, and they had this wonderful blankets. We sat out on the rocks and enjoyed the afternoon.
Our favorite thing about this whole thing, we've seen whales many, many times, but I've never seen a breach like we saw with the whale that was feeding. We've never seen a full breach. We've seen flippers, we've seen the tails and all that kind of stuff. Up in Alaska, out in California, but never the way this one was feeding, coming up, and its gullet was billowed out. That was the best thing. And Lyle got a great picture of it. Isn't that right, dear?
That's right, dear. So one of the highlights on this trip for us was in Twillingate. We decided to go off with a couple of other couples to see if we could find an iceberg. And lo and behold, a couple hours later, we found a magnificent iceberg in Twillingate. It was freezing.
We were dressed like the Michelin Man. They gave us clothes to wear that we looked quite humorous in, but it was well worth it. It kept us warm, and the iceberg was fantastic.
Yep.
We've enjoyed the heck out of this trip. It's been awesome. The thing that I'm going to take away from it was the whale watching. From Bonavista Lighthouse down to that restaurant, we just had an incredible time down in there. It was awesome. And we'll be back.
I became enchanted by the North Atlantic puffin, which is only found there. So we went to Puffin Island in Elliston, Newfoundland, and had a wonderful time just being delighted by all the puffins. Another great thing that we got to do, we became honorary Newfoundlanders by doing a screechin' ceremony, which was absolutely a scream.
You guys are going to be up here.
spot was in Buena Vista. We were up on at the lighthouse. We watched the whales. It was amazing. And the best part of this whole trip is the many friends that we've made.
And my favorite event was in St. John's. We went up to Fort Lewis on the bus that day up there, and I enjoyed the surroundings and the history that was connected with it. The second event that I think I appreciate the most was night before last. We had an event here in town where we had our first game that we played socially together, and everybody was pulling for everybody else, and that made it a lot of fun.
We really enjoyed Twillingate. We enjoyed the show at, what was the name of the restaurant there?
Anchors Away.
Anchors Away restaurant, and I enjoyed especially the fishing for cod. Loretta got screeched with a cod. I didn't go to that. I guess I missed it.
Yep, I was Sam's wife on that deal. And I like the village of the Vikings and how they came over.
And we got a great group we traveled with.
Well, here we are at the end of our Newfoundland caravan, but this is a trip that it's been on our bucket list for 8 or 9 years, and mostly because of the people that we heard in Newfoundland that were just so hospitable to people that visited, and we found that to be absolutely true. But this caravan was just a dream for us. The people that we met in the caravan and the people that we met in Newfoundland have just been awesome. And it's just kind of once in a lifetime experiences that we've been looking forward to for a long time.
And for me, I feel like I've been in a novel, just driving along in a novel. When I see the fog come over and to see all the water and the homes along the water, for me that makes me just think of when I read a novel.
One of our favorite places was in Twillingate on Newfoundland. And it was just a great spot. Normally a lot of icebergs. We didn't see a whole lot of that this year, but they're around.
Okay, so one of my favorite things about this tour was all the different musical shows that we got to see. One of my favorites was this Village by the Sea. And Jody Hale can play about 20 or 23 different instruments, including an ugly stick, which was amazing. So I really enjoyed all the different types of music and just the shows that the local people put on for us.
My favorite thing that we did, I think one of the favorite things, was the screech in when I got to slap Jeff in the face with the cod.
Well, Mike, I was going to say the exact same thing in the exact same place when we were over there when we first got to Newfoundland. But you know, I thought about this a little bit, and I'm going to take a line from one of my friends, my friend Len Rose. And I remember him saying that the best part of these caravans are the people. And it really made it for us. This was such a great group of people. Everybody gelled and had such a good time that my best memory that I'll carry away from this caravan is all the friendships that we've made and all the people that were here and that everybody enjoyed their time.
And getting slapped in the face with a cod.
There is a little place far out in the bay, and now my work is done, I must be on my way. For I am going home, it's where I long to be, out into Good Arm, that village by the sea. So many times I've walked around its rocky shores to gaze across the sea and listen to its roar. I feel as if I am in perfect harmony with everything around that village by the sea. How often I have missed the smell of salty air that blows in from the ocean. Lord, I wish that I was there to pass away the time with friends and family in the place that I love most, that village by the sea. I've traveled round the world and I've seen its many lands with beauties of their own.
Hey, we just want to thank everybody for coming on this caravan with us. We have had a fabulous time. You're a great bunch of people.
We have to say a special thanks to Jeff and Kaynell, our tail gunners. They've done an excellent job.
Perfect.
And everyone on the caravan was just wonderful. Lots of help.
Made our job so much easier. We've had a blast. Thank you.
If you come back home to Newfoundland, put aside your city charms and stop off at the fish plant in a place called Jobat's Arm. As you approach that busy scene, you'll see some fishermen. Oh, but most of all, you see the big longliners coming in. There's a Gilbert and a Stella, she's loaded down with skate. And there's Justin in the Endeavour with Billy Burke, his mate. With their hardy crews and captains, they're the finest fishermen. And the girls are all excited, the longliners coming in. For the Jobat's Arm longliners, they're coming home tonight. As they steam up the harbor, you can see their masthead lights. With their hardy crews and captains, they're the finest fishermen. And the girls are all excited, the longliners coming in. They'll be dancing at the motel until the early dawn. And the finest band at Tilting Club, they're swinging arm in arm. And all those pretty island girls serving up the beer. But tomorrow morning all the boys must be back at the pier. For the Jobat's Arm longliners, they're coming home tonight. As they steam up the harbor, you can see their masthead lights.
My favourite part of the trip was travelling with Mike Griffin. He's such a great guy. And oh, wait, do I get the money now or later?
Take two.
Yeah.
The whale.
The whale.
The whale, as it came up full of fish.
Okay, so
that
he'll
just
do the talk.
Billowed.
I hate to do this.
You need to wet yourself, or what? I mean, it's not like, oh! Is the camera running?
It's been running.
Oh, no, tell them what's going to be on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go red.
Going to go red?